Hello, friends. So we are going to get started here in a second. We are starting our Facebook live stream. Thank you for joining us on Zoom, where you can actually ask questions. Just kidding. But thank you for being here. We're excited. We are exactly 4 weeks from today. We will be at the Coronado Springs Resort. It will be a great time. We're really excited to be here. And yeah, we're excited to answer all of your questions tonight. As a show of hands, who is a first timer? Click your little raise your hand button, just out of curiosity. Oh, I see lots of first timers. Awesome. So just so you know, we're starting a live stream on Facebook right now. It's a little slow to get started, but once we get confirmation from Mission Control that it is up and running, we will get started. It is up. So I just received confirmation. So we are going to go ahead and get started. All right, you can go ahead and put your hands down now. Thank you for being here. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Matt Point, and I am, where do I work? My name is Matt Point, and I am the Director of Advancement here at Children with Diabetes. I work with all of our amazing sponsors and donors to help make all of our programs like Friends for Life Orlando happen. With me tonight, I have the people behind the scenes and on the front of the stage who have been planning Friends for Life Orlando for months with our 180 plus volunteers and leaders that will be there working the entire week with us. We are so excited about this event. We have a massive room block. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how tonight's going to go. And then we're going to turn it over to you. Tonight is all about you. So we're going to do some brief introduction so that you know a little bit more about us and what we do in case it helps inspire some questions. And then I'm going to give a few announcements about where we are in terms of programming and, the room block closing on Friday and all that fun stuff. And then we'll turn it over to you. If you are joining us live on Facebook, we are not monitoring Facebook. So please consider joining via the Zoom link in the description of the Facebook Live event. And join us on Zoom if you have any questions. So once again, my name is Matt Point. I'm the Director of Advancement. I do all of our fun activities at Friends for Life. So the banquet, the exhibit hall, all the sponsored sessions. So if you have any questions about the fun or the stuff that happens outside of the sessions, I'm your boy. I can't tell which order we're actually in. Lee.
Hey, everybody. My name is Lee Fickling. I'm the Chief Astronaut Officer for Children with Diabetes. That is not true. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Children with Diabetes. I'm so excited to have you all with us here tonight. I am the parent to 13-year-old teen twins, Ava and Davis. They are now in the teen program. We are looking so forward to having you all join us in just 4 weeks in Orlando. I cannot believe it's 4 weeks away. At FFL Orlando, I help to coordinate accommodations for guests that need special accommodations with disabilities. So tonight I want to talk with you if you have any questions about disability accommodations, either at the conference or lightly touch on disability accommodations when you're visiting Orlando and maybe at the parks. So looking forward to having you all join us here tonight. And again, welcome. So happy that you're here.
Thanks, Lee. Laura.
Hey, everybody. My name is Laura Bilodeau. Am I streaming okay? Can you hear me? I'm not breaking up? Okay, good. I have been at the helm of the Friends for Life conferences for 22 years. And this December, I am stepping back. So this year, I am here at Friends for Life to support this amazing team in front of you as they take the lead in all their different areas. On site, I will be there to help in any way that's needed and to answer questions and to give out free hugs, which is my favorite thing to do. My connection to type 1 diabetes is my son, Sam, who was diagnosed in 1998. He is now 33 years old and he lives in New York. My daughter, Carolyn, does not have diabetes. She helps coordinate all of the volunteers And she works with Kristen, who you see in front of you, on all of the food and beverage. So I look forward to seeing you all in 4 weeks. Oh my God, that's so soon. And pass it on to Jen. You're my next.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Jen, and I'm talking to you today from just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And my role with Children with Diabetes is as the Youth Program Coordinator. So I do the behind the scenes related to all of the things you see going on with the kids at the conference. So we've been working since January with a group of really talented teams to put together specific programming for the various age groups, the 4 age groups we have at Friends for Life. And I'll be on site to kind of help problem solve and troubleshoot and greet all of you and make sure you know where you're going throughout the conference. I have diabetes myself and have since I have been 3 years old, and I've been involved with Friends for Life since 2009. I'm going to toss it to Marissa, who's beside me on my screen.
Sure. Hi, I am Marissa Town, and I have been coming to Friends for Life since it started. I did miss one Orlando, and it was last year, and it was because I finally had COVID, which, you know, we all had to go through. I live with type 1 diabetes. I am a nurse and a diabetes care and education specialist. And here at CWD, I am the clinical director. So my goal is, what I do is I work on the adult program. I try to bring topics that are important to everyone, whether you're a parent coming with a kid with diabetes, whether you're an adult with diabetes, a spouse, a significant other, whether you're a sibling who lives with someone with diabetes. We want to make sure that there's something there for you to take home, either learn something new, share your story, learn tricks from other folks with diabetes and their family members, and go home feeling like you can keep on keeping on with diabetes, because as you all know, because you're on here, it is relentless and we've got to keep doing it every day. I will also happily answer any questions related to like illness and how we handle things at the conference. It's much easier to answer those questions now that we're sort of coming out of pandemic time. I am definitely much more relaxed than I was last year at this time. So really looking forward to seeing everyone, and I will tee it off to Kristen.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm the registered dietitian for the conference. We do all the meal planning and all the menus and carb counting and recipes and all of that stuff. I work hand in hand with Laura's daughter, Carolyn, and we go through all the buffets at our conference, making sure everything is perfectly done so that you can go through without any worry. I have been living with type 1 for 25 years. I can't wait to get my medal from Jeff in July. I am very much looking forward to that photo op. But 25 years, ups and downs, all of that. Here to answer any food questions, here to answer any type 1 questions, anything I can do to help. So
I remember getting you a cake for your 20th, by the way. So thanks, Kristen. I don't think I mentioned, but I'm in a different category as everybody else in terms of diabetes. I don't have diabetes and I don't have any kids, but I'm actually married to a type 1. So we're really excited. We do a lot of significant other programming throughout the week. So if you are an adult with type 1 and you're bringing your significant other, I look forward to meeting them at one of my many happy hours throughout the week. So I have a few housekeeping things and a few items that we want to go over with you really quickly, and then we're going to turn it over to you to ask questions. We're going to have you, drop your questions in the Q&A feature of the program, and I will pose them to whomever would be the best person to answer it on our team. Also, keep an eye on the chat because Ashlyn Mills, aka CWD Mission Control, will be dropping important links and information. So if you're asking a question about a specific thing, and we have a link for that, for information about it on our website, whether it's the schedule or a link to the room block, or she'll be dropping those in the chat throughout the evening as well. So the first thing we want to mention that I've already talked about a couple times is the room block. It does close this Friday. So if you have not answered your or have not booked your room yet, now is the time. You have to book it by Friday. We are significantly over our contracted room block with Disney. So once we close on Friday, we will not have any leeway whatsoever to book a room for you. You at that point you would need to call Disney on your own and hope that they're able to accommodate you. Our room block is $189 a night, and we're looking at $300 to $400 is the rack rate. So please, please, please book your room as you before Friday. 2, if you have not completed registration, let's say you're here because you wanted to get some more information, and you haven't made a decision yet, you need to register as soon as possible. Some of our youth programs especially are getting very full. And right now, all the programs are still open, but that does not mean that 2 weeks from now, we will have availability in each program. We will make announcements via email and on social media, and we will keep everybody updated. But if you've not completed your registrations, we request that you please do that as soon as possible. Last but not least, Kristen mentioned her and Carolyn work diligently throughout the year to come up with menus that appease and please everyone in attendance. We will spend over $1 million almost on food alone. It is a large operation. If you did not include, if you have a significant food allergy, so like CW gluten-free, we got it. We got separate gluten-free buffets. It's amazing. You have no problems there. But if you have a very significant food allergy or restriction that would cause you to need a special accommodation or assistance figuring out how to eat from a buffet, and you did not include it on your registration, we ask that you please email us or edit your registration. You can email us at conference@childrenwithdiabetes.com, and we will make sure that your account is up to date, but we are at that point where we will need to notify Disney so that they can begin making plans to accommodate you and your food restrictions. So please do that. Email us at conference@childrenwithdiabetes.com. Ashlyn has probably already dropped it in the chat. But we have a lot of questions rolling in. So please drop them into the Q&A, and we're gonna get started here. So first, a question related to the park day for teens. Would you recommend they bring a waterproof bag? Actually, I wouldn't, because the sponsor is actually providing, Dexcom, who is the sponsor of Teen Park Days, actually providing waterproof bags for all of the kids heading to Typhoon Lagoon for the day. So every year, the teens do an outing on Friday. They must participate in all of their programming on Wednesday and Thursday in order to be permitted to go on the park day on Friday. The only reasons they would be allowed to miss their programming would be if they were participating in a focus group that requested teen participation, or for a screening like a retinal screening or TrialNet or something like that. Otherwise, they have to attend everything on Wednesday and Thursday, and then they go on the trip on Friday. This year, we'll be at Typhoon Lagoon with their full teen staff, including all of their medical staff. We've done this every year for over 20 years. This is also not our first time going to Typhoon Lagoon. So it's going to be a great and fun and exciting day. And we're providing waterproof bags, and we have coolers, and we have a huge tented off shaded area at the water park. It's going to be a fun day. Lots of sunscreen. That would be my biggest concern. Teenagers don't care about sunscreen, so slap it on them in the room before you add them out. All right. We did that one. How does it work for the breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is there a carb list for food and desserts? Kristen.
So yes, there is. There's going to be a QR code that you scan, and it's going to have all of the food items on our buffet listed in a nice PDF. It's going to have a serving size and a column right next to it for each item, followed by a carb count for that serving size. So it's just an idea of how you can add them all up to get to what you put on your plate and how much you eat. So hopefully it's pretty user-friendly and easy to access. It will also be available on our app through the menu icon. And I think that's it.
Yep. So the app comes out this Friday. So keep an eye on your email. It'll come, you'll get a link this Friday includes all of the focus groups, product theaters, trials. So if you wanted to sign up to do a saline pump trial, like maybe you're not on a pump, or you're on a pump and want to try a different one, all of that comes out this Friday, as well as the link to download the app. And you can go ahead and start looking through sessions, which leads us to the next question. How do we register ourselves for meetings or sessions during the conference? Youth are automatically registered for their age group based on their date of birth when you completed their registration. As for other programming on Thursday and Friday, it's pretty much open, and you just look through the program, look through the app, and go to something that's applicable to you. There's 5 to 8 concurrent sessions happening at a time. The only restriction would be is if it's really not applicable to you. So we do it like on Wednesday, I host a session for significant others of people with type 1. So we say, if you're not an orange band, so people without type 1 at Friends for Life wear orange wristbands, people with type 1 wear green wristbands. So if we would say, hey, you're a green band, this session's really not for you. Or, hey, you don't look like a Kitty Cove 5-year-old. I don't know if this session is for you, Mr. 14-year-old. So youth participants are automatically placed in their age group. Adults, you can go to any session you want as long as it's applicable for you. And we're a very casual event. So if you're in a session, you're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be, or this is a little over my head. I think I'm going to go to this. Get up and leave. No one will be offended. You can pop in between sessions. People always ask, like, how do I decide? How do I pick? There's like 8 things happening right now. I would say divide and conquer. Make a friend. Compare notes. If you're bringing a spouse or a significant other, send them into a session. Be like, okay, honey, I'm going into this one, and print out your list and highlight it for your husband and tell him where he needs to be, and then make him take notes while he's there, and he can bring you the notes back. So that's what we usually suggest. I'm a bit confused about which thing on the schedule need to be pre-registered for. There's nothing that you have to pre-register for except for retinal screenings and focus groups that require pre-registration. In this Friday's email, it will say whether a focus group is open to the general conference attendee population or if it requires pre-registration and what that pre-registration is. So they might be looking for a specific demographic. They might be looking for adults with type 1 over 50 or whatever it may be. It'll have that information in the registration. Otherwise, you don't need to pre-register for anything. The only additional registration that is required is for our Kitty Cove program. So if you have paid online and registered a 0 to 5-year-old to attend our conference, you have also received an additional Kitty Cove registration with information to complete on whether they're actually going to participate in Kitty Cove programming. We often see that where a 13-month-old is registered for the conference because they're going to come to food and meals and activities, but they might just hang out with mom or grandma throughout the day. So we are going to ask for you to complete that form and let us know whether they're going to participate in Kitty Cove, but otherwise there is no pre-registration required for anything.
That second part that you just said, that actually comes by email, right, Jen?
Yes.
It was sent already? Okay.
If you happen to have registered in the last 7 days, you'll get that on Monday. So you may not have got it, but you will shortly if you're a new registration.
Perfect. So the next question is about sessions. So you do not have to, do some sessions get full? Yes, some sessions will be standing room only. Some sessions might be like 3 people. You just never know. That said, there will be descriptions for every session. They will all be in the app so that you know exactly what it's going to be for. So the print program will have like a big schedule block like the one we've been posting the schedule online, but in the app is where you will be able to find all of the session descriptions for everything. My type 1 child is 7. What supplies does she need for the youth program? Jen.
Good question. So I'll just provide a little bit more information about who's going to be in the room with your children at the conference. So all the children are divided into age groups, 0 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to 17. And within those age groups, there's 2 types of people. There's a large group of volunteers who are adults who either have diabetes or love someone with diabetes. And there's also a group of healthcare professionals also who either have diabetes or love someone with diabetes. The room is also stocked with everything that the healthcare providers need to fully take care of your child for that hour or hour and 15 minutes that they're in the session with them. So that includes, they have meters to do finger pokes and checks if that needs to happen. They have lots of low supplies. They have first aid kits. They have all of that sort of stuff. However, if your child has like a favorite finger poker, or if your child is using a CGM and carries a phone or a receiving device, send that stuff along. That's totally fine. We just ask that you make sure you label it because as you can imagine, there's a lot of kids with diabetes with the same devices in a room. So those labels are very important. If they have a favorite low snack, totally send it along. That's okay. We want to make things as easy for your child as possible. Those healthcare providers will never provide insulin though. So they're only helping with low blood sugars and then calling a guardian if there's a high blood sugar that might need attention, or texting you. They have your contact information. So hopefully that's helpful. You're welcome to bring anything that will help your child have a great time during that hour, but just know that if you sent them with just their Dexcom receiver, they're going to be just fine. We'll have everything else to take care of them.
Jen, while I have you, do we need to pick up our kids from the youth program, or do they bring the kids to us?
Good question. You do need to pick up your child if they're between the ages of 0 and 8. You need to go to the room you drop them off at right after your session ends and pick those kids up. If they are 9 to 17, they will be released at the end of the session. And we suggest that you find a meeting spot that you want to meet up with those tweens or those teens at. Sometimes it's literally right outside their room. That's the most convenient for you, and that works well. Sometimes you might want to meet them at the area where we'll be having snacks. That specific information will also come in a letter to each of you, probably in 2 weeks, since we have 4 weeks to go. So in 2 weeks, you'll get a letter from the age group leaders that is very specific to your age group, your child's age group, and it will detail how the days will flow and exactly what to expect a little more clearly. But it's very, very important that you do pick up your child, and especially if they're 0 to 8, because our volunteers can't leave the room until every child has left. And they also have to be back at the rooms early to set up. So we want to make sure that they get a little bit of downtime, can use the bathrooms, and can grab a snack as well.
Awesome. So I'm going to rip through a few questions that we got here. What days are dinners included? Only on Thursday at our friends and family banquet. It is a huge dinner. On Wednesday evening, we do have our grand opening reception from 7 to 10 in the exhibit hall, but it is dessert. Are there plans for the 4th celebrations? So the CWD does not have any plans for the 4th of July. It is on Tuesday. We will be open for registration all day. Retinal screenings will be happening. TrialNet screenings will be happening. There'll be opportunities for people to participate in pump and device trials and demos that day, but there's no official CWD activities. Are we free to just attend Disney Solution, or we miss essential parts of the program? So Tuesday evening on the 4th, CWD does not have any planned activities for attendees. If parents want to attend one event and kids want to attend a different one, do they stay with their youth group? Yes. So youth participants need to be in their youth program during the day. They have a session every time there are adult sessions happening. So we do request that everybody stay in their applicable age group programming. Let's see here. Do we need to register for TrialNet? What is the price? You do not need to register for TrialNet. You could have indicated it on your registration just to say that, so we could give them a head count, but you don't even need an appointment for it. They will be in a room and you can just go sign in, and they'll have you fill out a piece of paper and they'll come in. It is a blood draw. I got that question as well. It is not a finger stick. And then you usually receive the results in mid to late August, I believe, usually. It's the University of Florida, Gainesville, who takes care of that for us. If we cannot make it to check-in Tuesday, do we need to call or anything? Our reservations start Wednesday. Nope, you're good to go. So registration will be open from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Tuesday, and registration will open bright and early at 7:30 a.m. again on Wednesday. Please know that first-timers orientation does start at 9, which means you would need to drop your kids off before 9 to get into first-timers orientation, be in the room for first-timers orientation at 9. So please make sure that you get there 7:45, 8 o'clock so that you have enough time to get all your stuff and figure out where you need to go to drop kids off. All right.
There was also a question about meeting people around from your same kind of area. That would be a good place to meet other folks from the first timers. And as well, there's a session called Find Your FFLs. And the whole purpose of both of those sessions are to orient you to Friends for Life and help you make connections.
Yep. And then we also have signs, like boards that people can put up unscheduled activities and meetups throughout the week outside of registration. So if you're like, I'm from Philly, like Matt's from Philly. I want to hang out with Matt. I'm going to go put on this board. We're going to have like a greater Philadelphia area meetup. You could put that on there and say, hey, we're going to meet at the Barcelona bar this date and time. For the meals on our own, is there a place close enough to get to the conference center that we can get enough time to eat and get back in time for sessions, or is it better to bring our own? So there's a huge market called El Mercado, which is like a food court that you can go to. Sometimes on Wednesday can be busy, especially on Wednesday when there is no lunch, but it's not impossible. Some people pack food and have it in their room. Some people get groceries delivered. I always like bring like a huge bag of snacks to keep in my room, granola bars, things like that, just to have on hand. I know a lot of people get food like Amazon Prime Fresh delivers directly to the hotel. There's a litany of companies that will deliver food directly to the hotel. People bring stuff with them, but there's also a food court. It is rather expensive because it is, resort pricing, but it's definitely not impossible. They have chicken dinners, fries, burgers, pizza, all the typical stuff. We will arrive on Tuesday at noon. Hotel check-in says 3 p.m. Do they offer early check-in, bag drop-off, and hold? Yes. So you can ask if your room's done early. There's no guarantee of it, but they have a huge bag check area where they will hold it for you. They'll actually bring it up to your room when you get back if you call and tell them what the ticket number is. Okay, Jen, this one is for you. Teen is 13 and new to Teen Day at Typhoon and a little nervous about how to manage T1D at a water park herself where she has not done that before. Can you provide just a little more info about how staff check-in with teens that day will work? She's comfortable with the park, a little less with a water park. The example provided is where will she keep her supplies? How will staff be around in the park? Will she have a buddy? Any info with teen with anxiety would be helpful before arrival.
Sure. So I'll provide a little bit of info, and then Laura and Matt, you might have some additional information since you know the fine details. But the big thing to say is that the teens actually have an entire session, an hour and 15 minutes set aside on Thursday afternoon, where they are just planning and preparing themselves for a successful day at Typhoon Lagoon. So that's when, as a group, they will talk about their plans for having buddies at the park, for where they can meet up with a volunteer at any time, for where they can leave their supplies in a place where it won't get too hot. That stuff they will go over together as a group. They'll also answer lots of questions, and the teens will get to talk amongst each other to problem solve and troubleshoot some of those problems. So we expect that they'll be coming in Friday morning, like really excited and hopefully not nervous, because we've had a chance to get rid of a lot of those nerves. Matt or Laura, do you have anything you want to add about Typhoon Lagoon?
Yes, I do. So as you mentioned, the teens actually have an entire area with a pavilion, a shaded pavilion at Typhoon Lagoon, and all of the teen staff, including all of the healthcare people who are part of the teen program, will be there. And with the exception of a few staff who will be in the pavilion to be there as kids come back and have questions or want to check in, the staff will be out in the park, available to ask questions, available for any kind of need that the teenagers might have. Our medical folks are there, so if a teen is not feeling well, that's the first person they should look for. Typhoon Lagoon is not far from the hotel, and if we need to get somebody back to the hotel to be with their parents, we can do that. Matt, we're going to have emergency vehicles there too, correct?
Yep.
A car or two. As far as getting food there, we give the teenagers Disney gift cards to cover snacks and lunch. And it's also a good idea for you to perhaps send a few dollars with them. So if they want to get a souvenir or they want to buy an extra ice cream or whatever it is that they'd like, that they have the means to do that. Anything else, Matt?
I think that's the big one. We do provide the transportation to and from. They will receive their required arrival time. There is not breakfast on that morning, so your child needs to arrive having already eaten breakfast. And that is part of their daily routine. I'm 35 years old and I still don't eat breakfast, so if breakfast is part of their routine, encourage them to do it and put sunscreen on them.
Yeah, Matt, also, if there's terrible weather, like a bad storm blows in, we have our buses on standby in the Typhoon Lagoon parking lot, so we can get the kids off site and back to the hotel if need be.
Yep.
And I
So
just
they can
want to
either
say just hello from the chief astronaut officer of 13-year-olds. Like, I feel you, anonymous parent. I'm with you, like sending 13-year-olds with you. So just know that they're going to be okay with this. We just have to trust the parents who have sent on the other kids to Typhoon Lagoon before. They have gone, they have survived it. They have returned back to Coronado Springs. And we have to know that our kids are going to go and they are going to love it. And they are going to come back just like the other ones have gone before. So
I was a teen at the last Typhoon Lagoon event. It was amazing. We had a blast that was very organized. Everyone checked in, reconnected pumps.
And that was before anything was waterproof.
Yes, it was. And it was before CGM. We had no CGM, but we made it out alive. Also a great memory.
And Matt, I should have answered this one question just by typing, but for Tiffany, we got you. If you filled out 2 names in the kiddie quote form, I've taken care of you. No worries. All good.
I'm going to rip through a few more questions here. So more details about social events. One, also, is there a craft session for the moms and moms? Absolutely there is. So on Friday afternoon at 3:00, on the schedule for me, 2:30. The last session before the closing keynote, there is a Moffles Wine and Crafts event run by our Chief Astronaut Officer. Fun times. Please, we put in a bigger room this year because we knew it was crowded last year. As for our other social events, they happen throughout the week, and they could be as informal as a meetup that happens somewhere around the resort in a bar by the pool, as a walk around the lake, or it could be as large as a social event on Saturday evening with an open bar for adults with type 1 and their significant others, or the family fun night carnival that happens on Saturday night, or it's family movie night that happens on Friday night, or it is the friends and family banquet where there'll be 2,000 people in the room for a space themed and fun evening where we will eat a lot of macaroni and cheese, and then dance and then meet Disney characters all with our friends from Walgreens. So there will be a page in the back of the print program that will list on one single page every single social event that will happen throughout the week. So that'll be your guide of things of like, oh, this would be fun, that would be fun. But there is some sort of activity every night, Wednesday through Saturday, in terms of social events after the conference. The regular programming for the day ends, and then we do conclude the week with our farewell breakfast on Sunday morning. If you are new to Friends for Life, there are 2 opportunities to experience the Disney magic without going to the parks. A lot of people reach out and they ask us questions about the parks. You do not need to go to the Disney parks to have the full Friends for Life experience. On Thursday night at our Friends and Family banquet, as well as on Sunday morning, we will have some of our favorite Mickey friends and Disney characters with us for meet and greets, photos, all that kind of stuff. So don't feel obligated in any way. You're like, this is a lot for me. We're traveling with a newly diagnosed type 1 6-year-old, and let alone like we're getting on an airplane, let alone dragging them around the Magic Kingdom for the day. You will still have the Disney experience at the resort. The resort is gorgeous. There's 4 pools. There's a lot to do.
Matt, can we ask Lee to please address the quieter spaces we have for folks who don't enjoy crowds and busy places?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, happy to. So I think that, one of the things that we try to do at Friends for Life is to especially focus on our families and our individuals that have neurodiversity, and understand that a lot of times that when we bring 2,000 people into our conference space, that a lot of times there can be sensory overload, and even people that don't have neurodiversity, a lot of times people need to sort of be able to take a break. So like Matt just said, the conference space itself is a beautiful it's a beautiful space with lots of outside surrounding to where you can be able to take a break from all of the action. So for people who have not been to Coronado Springs, there's a lot of walking space outside to where you can sort of be able to take a break from all of the action from the convention center itself. So whenever you're with us within the convention space itself at Friends for Life, all you have to do is be able to step outside to the walkways. So there are lakes that surround the convention space to where you can go be able to take a break. Laura loves to be able to go take a walk around the different lakes. And she goes to and takes laps around. So lots of people will go and take walks around, like during the lunch break or in the mornings, there'll be walks that people will take. So you can take your meals outside and you can go and take a break outside. We have space that's designated as a quiet space during the conference time itself, for you to be able to step away from the 2,000 people. And we at the registration table, we as the CWD staff can be able to help you designate places for you to be able to step away, to be able to find a quiet space, to be able to find time for yourself, to be able to find time sort of to be able to step away and find time to be able to find time for yourself if you need to.
Thank you, Lee.
Also, I wanted to add that the big parties in the evening aren't everybody's cup of tea. And if you would rather go hang out at the pool or take a walk around the lake or go have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine in some place that's quieter, that is perfectly okay. You don't need to be the entire time in the middle of the convention center with all those thousands of people around you. Sometimes quiet is pretty necessary in the day.
I will go hide eventually at some point as well. We just dropped the FFL FAQ in the chat. A lot of the questions that are being asked are very much covered in there, but I definitely want you to check it out just because there's a lot of information, FAQ, links to how to book things, questions about transportation stuff. So I've dropped some more links, but definitely check out our FAQ. It covers everything from the dress code to how to get to and from the airport. And there's even a map of the convention center in there. So just something to think about. Do you know what transportation is provided at the resort to get to the parks in Disney Springs and how long it takes to get there via transport? Yes. So Disney provides free transportation everywhere at Walt Disney World on property. It is from the Coronado. It is a bus resort. So you go out to the little bus stop outside the tower to the right, and you just wait for the bus that shows up and says where you're going to go. You could wait 3 minutes or you could wait 25 for the bus to show up. They're supposed to come every 15 to 20. And then when you're at the park or Disney Springs to come back, you go to the bus stop and you just wait. And there'll be like a big sign that lists all the resorts, and you find the number for Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, and you go stand there and the bus will bring you back.
Hey, Matt, there's a couple of questions that have come in about special accommodations, just to follow up about quiet spaces. And a couple of, let me just answer that one question that just came in with regard to quiet spaces and breaks that need to take place during sessions. So one of the things that I'd like to be able to point out, whenever you all registered for the conference, which you can still go back into your conference registration and you can edit that. If you have a need for special accommodations while you're at the conference, there was a way for you to be able to identify if you needed accommodations whenever you register for the conference. And that triggered some accommodation questions for you to be able to ask, to identify questions that you may have, whether you were blind or low vision, deaf or hard of hearing, whether you had neurodiversity. That allows us to be able to explore potential accommodation requests that you may have to be able to help support you while you're with us during the week at Friends for Life Orlando. We want to be able to help you be able to have the very best experience while you're with us in Coronado Springs. So if you think that you're going to need accommodations, things like a sensory break, things like maybe a sensory bag, accommodations that you may have while you're in the K through 12 school setting, if you will reach out to us at accommodations@childrenwithdiabetes.com, that would be really helpful. Or you can go back into your registration and you can edit that and change that question. Maybe you didn't identify that you had a need for accommodations in the past. You can go back in and edit your registration and change your answers with that. You can go back in and change those and identify a need for potential accommodations. Then we'll reach out to you. But in terms of if you think that you might need potential accommodations during those sessions, we have a way to be able to support your kids while they're in their youth programming sessions. And we are prepared to be able to help them. We have a way to be able to help support them in terms of taking a break during their sessions. We have sensory bags. We have quiet rooms in each one of the youth programming areas. And we've worked with all of the youth programming areas to be able to help support our kids that have neurodiversity and cognitive issues. But again, it's best if we know in advance what type of needs they have so we can be able to help support their needs in advance. So now is the time for us to be able to help put an accommodation plan in place before we get to July. So again, if you'll reach out to us at accommodations@childrenwithdiabetes.com, that's the best way for us to be able to put in an accommodation plan in place. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. First-timer orientation runs concurrently with other sessions. It's important to attend first-timers orientation. As I said earlier, go to what speaks to you. If you're a first-timer, I would definitely encourage you to attend first-timers orientation. I think at this time, there's only one other session happening at the same time, one or two. So later in the day, when you got to pick from 8, it's a little bit more difficult. But if you haven't been before, I would encourage you to attend first-timers orientation. It'll just help you get a lay of the land, how the conference flows and works, and they'll give you some tips and tricks for making the most out of your first experience. Jen, will there be sibling sessions? Will the sibling sessions differ from the type 1 sessions? Will they have better understanding what their T1 siblings in the world look like? And to add to that, what about if their parent is actually the type 1?
Great questions. So like Matt mentioned earlier, if you're attending the conference and you have diabetes, you'll be wearing a green bracelet. And if you don't, you'll be wearing an orange bracelet. And so when you're looking at the youth program, you'll notice that some of the youth sessions actually have sessions called orange and green bracelets. Those are instances where the leaders in that age group have decided they do want to, in a certain instance, give the youth the opportunity to connect with just other siblings or children of adults with diabetes, orange bracelets, and those wearing green bracelets to connect with one another. Otherwise, all of the programs are really intentionally planned so that they are inclusive of those wearing green and those wearing orange bracelets. So for example, your child might be attending a session that's related to nutrition. It's not just nutrition as it relates to diabetes, but there'll be opportunities to talk about why just fueling our bodies in general is important. There may be sessions surrounding mental health, and there'll be pieces that point specifically to the folks who have type 1 diabetes, but there'll also be lots of conversation about how those that don't have diabetes can support the people in their lives with diabetes. There'll also be lots of like icebreaker intermingling chances for folks to meet lots of different folks, but within the age groups, but you'll find lots of opportunities. And from our experience in the past, your children shouldn't feel that it's just for kids with diabetes or not. They should really feel as one big group within their age group.
Thanks, Jen. One question we got is, my son is 9. Can he go wherever his little sister is? So potentially, so one of the things that we said earlier, but I think needs to be emphasized again, is that your youth participant needs to participate in their age group. So if they are 13, they're a member of the teen program. If they are 12, as of July 4th, so whatever age they are on July 4th is what they're going to be for the week. The only exception there is if they turn 18 throughout the week, they will be an adult at Friends for Life because our insurance stipulates the age groups and what are the requirements. We're not allowed to move kids between age groups, regardless of whether Timmy and Johnny are better together or whether that they prefer to be in separate groups and they're in the same group. They need to go to their assigned age group based on their age as of July 4th, 2023. As of when they're released, they can go wherever they want. You can in terms of like meeting spaces for where you're going to meet your child after the event, that's for you to pick. So I would walk through on Tuesday or Wednesday when you get there and say, okay, see this big mural of this fish? This is where we're going to meet here at this sombrero stand every day. Or we're going to meet right here at Toluca A every day after you get out of your session. So pick a meeting point, pick a chair. Like we're always going to meet right here at this chair outside of this room. So we don't assign those meeting spots. It's really up for you and your kid to decide on.
And parents, my advice to you with that is you are the boss of your kids. Hear me when I say this to you. Like I've lost a kid in the mix of all of this. You are the boss of your kids. And when they get with their friends and they get released into the wild, it can become kind of exciting and wild and spacey. You need to be the decider of where you're going to meet your kid when they are released. So like Matt said, it's best whenever you go to registration and you pick up your packet and you get your exciting wristband and you get your t-shirt, make your decision of where your meeting place is going to be. And that is your meeting place for the week. And you decide that with your kid and you say every single time that you're released into the wild, we will meet you at this point. I don't care if you have 15 friends. I don't care if you have 25 friends. Every single time that you are released into the wild, you and your 25 friends in your posse will meet us right here. Then you can go to the buffet and get your food with all of your 25 friends, but you will still meet me here at this spot. And that's the best way to be able to do it. Because let them go, let them be with their friends for life, because that's what we want them to do. But at the same time, pick your meeting spot because you are the parent of those kids. Don't let them run you. You are in
May
charge.
I add something?
Yes, please.
If somebody is truly missing, you cannot find your child. We have a group of volunteers called the Friends for Life support team. They will be in black shirts like Leah, are you wearing one tonight? Like Leah and I are both wearing. And they have radios. They will find your child. We drop everything if someone can't be located, and we always find them.
They're always with their friends.
Yeah, usually with their friends. But don't fret over it. If you really are worried, find one in the black shirt and let them know, and we will help you.
And if I can just add on to that piece specific to Amelia's question, it sounds like you have a tween and an elementary child. Those rooms are right next to each other. So that, for your experience this year, that will probably facilitate an easy meetup because you'll be picking up your elementary child and your tween will be literally right next door. So if that helps ease any nerves.
Yeah, they're in Fiesta 5 and Fiesta 6, and there's a bench, like a park bench, sitting right outside those rooms. So that is a great meeting spot if you've got one in each place. Now, your tween will be released in the wild. You will need to pick up your elementary child.
We got a few more questions. I got some email questions. Y'all are on it tonight. So we got a question about latex and balloons. Allergies, we don't allow balloons at Friends for Life. It's in the sponsored ban list. In addition to that, we are also completely nut-free environment. So there are no nut products or foods served at Friends for Life by CWD or the sponsors. The only nuts are on this call right now. So we are a nut-free event, and we are also a balloon and latex-free event, except for medical purposes. So they will wear latex gloves and like trial net, but we don't allow you're not going to see like any big balloon displays or anything like that. So quick questions from the email. Do we eat dinner before the grand opening ceremony on Wednesday? Yes. It is a dessert reception. We actually moved it back an hour. It used to be 6 to 9. It's now 7 to 10. The day ends at 4 o'clock, 4:30. I think 4 o'clock, to allow you plenty of time to go, have dinner, rest, get some quiet time in your room. And then we will see you back for the big ribbon cutting at 7 p.m. where the kids will like run and go wild. I'll eat chocolate covered strawberries, and it'll be a fun night. But please eat dinner in advance. What happens when there's more than one session you want to attend? That's when you need to find some friends, hop between them. If you're in something, you're like, oh, I think I should go to this instead. Leave, just switch. It's fine. Compare notes, make friends at breakfast, and strategize about where you want to go. For the breakfast lunch, is there a close enough that spot we will have time for food break? So the snack breaks and coffee breaks provided by children with diabetes actually take place in the exhibit hall. So they will be in the back half of the exhibit hall. You'll pass through all of the exhibits, like right in the middle at the end of the convention center. As for our meals that we provide, they will literally be outside in the pre-function space, like outside of the main ballrooms where all of your sessions happen. So you're gonna like walk out to get your kids, and you're going to pass all the food when you're going to go pick up your kids from the session. So you are right in the middle of everything. And I think that's it from that list that we hadn't answered yet. Is it okay to bring peanut butter products, crackers for loaves? No, you cannot bring any nut products into the convention center. You can have it in your room. I will eat peanut M&Ms in my room with my Chardonnay every night before I go to bed. And then I will brush my teeth and wash my hands before I ever leave my room. But you cannot bring any peanuts or peanut products or nut products at all into the convention center. What is the dress code for the banquet? Oh, that's my favorite question. So it is space themed. So wear whatever makes you feel comfortable. So I hate costumes. So I will be in a short sleeve button down shirt that will have I bought it today, spacey print to it. Last year we had a safari themed event, and I had a short sleeve button down shirt that had giraffes and elephants on it. I also wore that same shirt to dinner in New Orleans a month later, with like shorts and Birkenstocks. Lee's family will be fully decked out head to toe in costume. Marissa and her family fully decked out head to toe in costume. And then the table next to Marissa, they will probably be in like generic Friends for Life t-shirts that they picked up at registration. And one kid will be in sweatpants and a hoodie. So whatever makes you feel comfortable. Fully spaced out, themed outfit. Like if you want to wear something like shiny, like, silver, wear your alien antenna, whatever you want. Short sleeve button down shirt with a fun print on it. Kristen's family, they will be fully decked out in a themed family costume. Moms in the audience, you are more than welcome to fully deck out your child in your themed family outfit. So whatever you want. The convention center is cold. So it is 95 and humid outside. It storms every afternoon because it's Orlando in July, and it is 62 in the convention center. So I would, wear sneakers, closed-toed shoes because it's cold. Also for your kids, that's important because they will run around and do a lot of activities. Also, it is a lot of walking. Yes, the Coronado Springs Resort is a hotel and convention center. It is also the largest resort at Disney World. It has almost 3,000 hotel rooms and surrounds a giant lake, and the convention center is there. There can be a lot of walking. But I'd also bring like a hoodie or sweatshirt or sweater to have with you in the convention center. Is there a fridge in every room? Yes, there is a fridge in every room. If you were asking because you were going to put insulin in it, that is an interesting question that I'm actually going to let Marissa talk about.
Yeah, so actually we typically don't recommend storing your insulin in the fridge in a hotel room because the problem is that the temperature can vary. If you put it too close to the top where there has that little kind of freezer section, it can get too cold. If the fridge gets unplugged somehow, it could get warmer than you were thinking. So I typically do not recommend using hotel refrigerators. This is
regardless, not just Disney.
Yeah. I mean, put your like soda in there, right? Because the worst that happens is that freezes. But insulin, is our life. So I usually just keep it at room temperature. Your room will be nice and air conditioned. And if you have an issue, you can alert the hotel.
Also, the refrigerators that are in the regular rooms, not the tower rooms, because Matt, those are regular refrigerators, correct, in the tower? And yep. The other rooms, like the casita rooms or the cabana rooms, those refrigerators are not true refrigerators in the sense that they will keep your milk products cold. And I know because I buy milk products to snack on that week. And I also will just buy a cheap cooler or use the ice bucket and stick a thing of milk in it and put ice over it if I only have a couple of things. but it will not keep your groceries cold for the week. In the tower, you have a real fridge.
And can I also
Um,
just add, if something happens to your insulin, if it freezes, just talk to someone. Just talk to us. We have tons of supplies. We have tons of things. So please don't feel like you are stuck. We will help you 100%.
if you need any supply, you post in that Orlando group, you will have that supply within 10 minutes somewhere in that resort. Additionally, Walgreens is our Galaxy sponsor this year. They are going to have pharmacists who can fill prescriptions in their booth in the exhibit hall. Walgreens is the closest pharmacy to the Coronado Springs Resort. It is about a mile directly behind the resort. So we're also going to Disney World. We are not going to on an Amazon River cruise where we only have the supplies we have brought with us. You can literally Uber Eats McDonald's to your room. So if you need to get it, we can get it to you at Disney World. You are in civilization. So we have 5 minutes left, 5 minutes warning. Will my teenager be able to use the Sports Central gym or will he need to use the hotel gym? So Sports Central is not really a gym. It's like a fun activity place. So they're going to play basketball, soccer, and do like sports activities. There's not like workout equipment there. However, there are 2 gyms at the Coronado Springs Resort. There's one on the ground level of the tower, and there is one in like Casita 3. That doesn't make any sense to you right now, but in Casita 3, there's another gym. It's to the left of the convention center. You'll find it. But the Sports Central is not actually a gym. It's like a sports activity center. They'll play basketball, play games, badminton, all that kind of fun stuff. How many total attendees do we expect this year? 2,000 plus. We are anticipating our first sellout event since 2019 pre-COVID. 2020 in 2020, we actually had our largest event ever, almost 6,000 people spread out all across the world. And in 2021, we had a half capacity event due to Disney's social distancing restrictions at that time and due to a lack of vaccination availability to our youngest participants. Last year, we were actually at our largest number of adults in attendance with type 1. So if you're an adult coming to Friends for Life this year, we've talked a lot about the youth program tonight. 54% of attendees in attendance last year were adults with type 1 diabetes. You were in good company. We had over 50 people just in our significant other session on Wednesday afternoon last year. But we're expecting about 2,000 plus attendees this year. It's going to be a great time. Any last minute, did we forget anything? I feel like I'm like racking my brain to see.
Yes,
I would
Jen,
read the
can
FAQ.
you talk about the Tuesday opportunities for parents to meet the leaders of the youth program?
Yes, great reminder. So this is brand new to the conference. So if you're a returner, a cool new opportunity. If you're new, on Tuesday between 1:30 and 3:30, if you have a child in Kiddie Cove, so 0 to 5, or elementary 6 to 8, the leaders from that age group are actually going to be hanging out at the room that they'll be doing the programming in, so Fiesta 5 or Fiesta 6, to meet with any parents who want to ask some questions directly to the leaders. The healthcare providers will be in the room, so you can get any health questions answered. You can bring your child to the room so they can see, and sorry, I said 5 and 6, but Kiddie Cove's in the room next door. Check your map. There'll be signs up so you can see. But that's a chance to kind of calm all nerves and make the drop off on Wednesday a little more smooth, so that your child already has seen the space. They'll see how the room's going to be set up. They'll get familiar with some faces, and you can get those questions answered that might feel rushed because you're waiting to go to a session on Wednesday morning. Thanks for that reminder. That's we're excited for those meet and greets.
Somebody asked a question about the exhibit hall, and I answered a question about it earlier. So on Wednesday night, we talked about the exhibit hall grand openings from 7 to 10. It is also open Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Wednesday is really busy and chaotic in the exhibit hall because it's like kids running in and like ripping free tchotchkes off and playing video games and driving remote control cars. And it gets calmer throughout the week. So if you want to go sit down and have a conversation, every major participant and industry partner in the space will be there. So every insulin pump company will have a booth in the exhibit hall. And there, it's not just like, oh, we set up a table. These are the same booths that are at the American Diabetes Association event in June. bring them to Orlando to participate. So if you did not know, Friends for Life Orlando is the world's largest event for families and individuals with type 1 diabetes. It is also the world's largest consumer-facing event for industry. What does that mean for you? It means that they are there to talk to you because it is their only time that the industry has a captive audience to ask you questions. So please, please, please attend the focus group activities on Wednesday, because the sponsors are participating and hosting those because they really want to get your information and to share information with you. It could be something as simple as, hey, we have this new product. We're doing a product theater. I mean, the Dexcom G7 product theater is happening. The Medtronic 780G product theater is happening. There's a Libre 3 product theater that's happening. All the new devices are having product theaters. But then there could be a focus group specializes. We're going to make you sign a non-disclosure agreement, and we're going to show you these commercials that haven't come out yet for your feedback on them. And anything could happen on Wednesday. Please participate. The sponsors are there because they want to get information from you so that they can help you in the future and find out what you want. They want you to play with the pump before it comes out. So you can be like, I don't like how these buttons press, and they're going to like take copious notes, and then they're going to go back to their R&D team, be like, all the kids at Friends for Life said the buttons are hard to press. We need to figure this out. So please participate. Go to the exhibit hall. I know somebody asked a question. They're like, they're not on a pump yet. Should I get a pump before we go? All I'm saying is every pump manufacturer will be there. Go try them out. On Friday, this Friday, you'll get an email that includes all the product theaters, focus groups, as well as device trials and demos. So if you wanted to participate in a saline trial for a pump, they will all be participating in those. And that information comes out with registrations and how to participate on Friday, as well as our conference app, which includes the full schedule, a list of all the faculty and speakers, their bios, all the people who, all the pictures and images and bios of everybody who's working, volunteers and the people working with your kids, me, and then it has all of our social activities in it. And it's great. You can read all the conferences, the sessions and all the descriptions, and you start favoriting so that when you get there, you're like, okay, well, I said I was going to go to 5 during this block. So now I got to pick one. So it all comes out on Friday. Did I miss any questions? Let me check. Do we have anything else in Facebook? Are we good there? Mission Control? Are there any last minute burning questions? All good. We're good on Facebook. Thank you so much for participating tonight, for asking questions. I would encourage you, like I said, to check out the Friends for Life FAQ. There's a lot more information than you would ever want in it. Any question that we thought you could think of is on there. One thing that Jen and none of us mentioned was in the FAQ, there's a session about like who's watching question about who's going to watch my kids. You're going to get a letter from the youth program leaders from your age group that will be eventually sent to you via email. They're like, dear parent of a teen at Friends for Life, this is all the information you need to know. Those letters will also be linked in the FAQ here shortly. And if you have any last minute burning questions, desires, or thoughts, everybody thinks of something. As soon as we hang up, you're going to have 6 questions. Email conference@childrenwithdiabetes.com, and I will make sure, or Ashlyn, Mission Control, she'll make sure that it gets to the proper channel. Whether it's anything, whether you want to talk to Kristen about food, you have a question about allergies. What's Lee's puppy's name? That's Dexter.
Matt.
Yes.
One thing. Everyone, please make sure that you are checking your email, the email address that you registered under, because that's where we're sending all of these letters, all of these alerts, all of the last minute instructions are going to that email that's on your registration form.
Yep. And if you on Saturday morning have registered this Saturday, so you've registered for Friends for Life, you've put in all your information, and on Saturday you wake up and you didn't receive an email on Friday, it's because at one point in your life you unsubscribed from a CWD email, whether it was an email from a sponsor, whether it was from our weekly newsletter, how dare you, or anything like that. You unsubscribe from any CWD communication ever. So you will not receive any of our conference related communication. So you might be standing outside in a thunderstorm at Friends for Life, wondering where everybody for this adult party is, but I sent you an email to tell you that it moved inside because of the thunderstorm. So if you think you might have found yourself in that situation, please email us at conference@childrenwithdiabetes.com, and we'll make sure that we get you added back in. All right. I think we're good. Thanks for being here. See you in a month.